Um, Stokes County has about 47,000 residents, and out of those, we've got about 30,000 registered voters. And I can kind of relate a little bit to the terrain you have here in West Virginia, because we are in the northwest part of North Carolina, so we're in the foothills, and we do have a mountain range in Stokes County that of course creates some challenges the way it cuts through the county. You know, if you got people on that side of the county who want to vote, and that's one of the reasons that we have additional early voting sites. And at our early voting sites, at our office, and in our additional sites, we do have same-day registration that's available. For my own personal experience, I began the job in August of 2007, and about a month later is when the same-day registration became law in North Carolina. For that election in 2007, in North Carolina, we have typically municipal elections in odd-numbered years, and we have 3 towns in Stokes County, and we did not have anybody vote same-day registration or register and then vote at a one-stop site for that election. So I did have a little time as I'm trying to learn the other aspects of the job. I didn't have to deal with same-day registration for that particular election. But of course, in 2008, the May primary in particular, turnout was up for that primary in North Carolina. The presidential nominations were still going on at that time, so that increased turnout. Also, I was new to the job, and so was my deputy director. She was new. And we're a 2-person office, so the 2 of us were trying to learn together. I mean, I joked that we were kind of like a freshman quarterback in Dana Holgerson's system at West Virginia. You know, everything was moving pretty fast. We were just hanging on as much as we could. What I found is that conducting an election, it's kind of a puzzle. And there's not one piece that's overly challenging or overwhelming and can't be accomplished. It's just a matter of putting those pieces together, whether it's early voting, poll worker training, campaign finance, candidate filing, those types of issues. And I found that same-day registration is kind of integrated into that early voting. And I may have referred to one-stop voting. That's what we in North Carolina refer to absentee in-person. I've concluded maybe somebody thought absentee in-person, early vote, absentee in-person. Maybe somebody said, that's kind of confusing, so we'll call it one-stop. But when I say one-stop, that's what I'm referring to, is when somebody votes early in-person. In anticipation of being here, I talked to some elections folks about their experiences. And now, you may be different in West Virginia, but what I found in my fairly short experience in North Carolina is that when you get something new, when the state maybe passes a law, when the State Board of Elections has a policy change, elections officials will say, oh, how are we going to do this? How are we going to accomplish this? But somehow we managed to do it, and we accomplish, we complete elections, and we move forward. And I think that's probably the case with same-day registration, people wondering how is it going to be integrated into the voting process. But what I found is I talked to the people that I talked to, all had positive things to say about their experience. My board members, I asked them about it, and in North Carolina, we each have a 3-member board in each county. And the board is composed of each major party, the 2 parties that have the most registered voters. Of course, North Carolina is in most places, that's Democrats and Republicans. So my 3-member board, both parties are represented. And had a board meeting last week and asked them what they felt like the impact of same-day registration had been, how they had viewed it, because they also visit these additional one-stop sites during voting, and they said that they'd all found that it had been a good idea. I talked to what I refer to as my chief judges at these additional sites, and they were also said people had been receptive to same-day registration. One of them said that lots of people had commented positively on it. Another said it's great, everybody seems to like it. And I had fairly brief conversations because I said, have you had any complaints? And they said no. And then they gave me some positive thoughts as well, and that was that was pretty much the extent of my conversation with him. I spoke to Marshall Tudor, who is an investigator with the State Board of Elections in North Carolina, checking to see if he was aware of any allegations of fraud of same-day registrants, and he said didn't recall having any investigations. I also spoke to the executive director of the State Board of Elections, and he emphasized that the process is open to everybody, and I think as Julie said earlier, it enfranchises people who are already eligible to vote. And I spoke to a few elections directors, say county elections directors, and as one said, you have to do pretty much the same amount of work whether the voter votes an SDR or provisional ballot. Might as well get it out of the way up front and count the ballots. And that was sort of a common theme that I got from them, is that you're going to have provisional voters, you can deal with them. You can eliminate some of those provisional voters if you can do some of the work up front prior to election day. Again, one director said we actually loved it in our county because it cut down on the provisional workload that comes after election day. Another one said we have not found SDR to be costly or excessively time consuming. So those are some of the thoughts of some elections folks in North Carolina.